Once you've got the NLign exe file on your machine or are ready to install, just simply double click. You may be asked to provide some password or other security thing to be able to install on your computer. This will vary by company that you work with. And here's the first page for NLign setup. So this is the NLign setup wizard. Go ahead and click next. Here's our user agreement, our license agreement. Next, we'll ask you for an install directory. Quick tip for administrators of NLign: if you have multiple servers or instances of NLign, such as a test or a development, it could be helpful to name this folder NLign development so that you know which version of NLign that you're accessing. For your standard user, this default file location is just fine. Similar thing with the name of the program shortcuts. If you are an admin, it could be helpful to name this test or dev. Again, if you are a standard user, just leaving this how it is should be fine. Here's the heart of NLign. It's asking you to point to the web service URL or the server where all of the data that is collected in NLign is going to be stored. So to be able to access the models and the data that's been stored in the database, you need to enter in the proper web service URL. So the web service URL is key to connecting to the NLign server and getting the models and the data information from there. Your specific URL will probably look something different from this, but in a general sense, it might have something like NLign, something about your organization, and at the very end, it'll probably have something like NDAL. And finally, push install to begin. Once it's finished, you can just click the finish button. Now we have NLign ready to go on our computer. You can just double click to launch it. And if you've been added as a user by your administrator, you should be able to launch the program. And it should load the models and the other data. So if you haven't been added to NLign by an admin or someone who has access to your system, this will be the error that shows up when you try and launch NLign. It'll say this username has not been registered, and then it'll have the username that you need to copy and paste into an email, or your username that you need to hand to an administrator so they can add you. If you're working with the government, this will probably be your CAC card number. On some commercial machines, this will be your Windows user login ID. But the easiest and best practice is to just copy this item here and then send that to your admin. Hopefully you've been able to install NLign now and can access the models and information on your system. Thanks.